Hello, my name is Diane Weinberg. I am of counsel with Morgan & DeSalvo, and welcome to our second video edition of the Passionate Estate Planner. I was asked to speak this month about the ABLE Act, which creates a special type of special needs trust and which came into law in December 2014. But as I looked at the material, I realized that a lot of people are not familiar with the general types of trust that we use in special needs planning. It's such a specialized area that many people don't encounter these trusts. So I want to go over very briefly what the three primary trusts that we use in special needs planning: the first party or self-settled trust, the third party trust, and the community pooled trust. If you're already familiar with these concepts, hang around for the next part of this video and we'll talk about the ABLE Act as well as a special planning twist, but you'll have to wait to hear it in the next video. Well, going back to the purpose of this video, it's a primer of special needs trusts. And if you still need some help with the concept of a trust, let me refer you to our website and to the article written by Lorraine DeSalvo on what is a trust. It does a fabulous job explaining the basics of trust. Now, the first party special needs trust, also called a self-settled trust or a D4A trust, contains assets belonging to the special needs beneficiary. So the special needs beneficiary has a bank account and he or she moves her funds from that account into the trust. Medicaid and Social Security Administration will pretend that money does not exist for purposes of qualifying for supplemental security income benefits and for Medicaid benefits. It's not a bad deal. There are no limits as to how much money can go into a D4A trust. There are some weird restrictions on the trust, though. First of all, it cannot be created by the beneficiary. It must be created by her parents, by her grandparents, by her guardian, or by a court. Also, there are transfer penalties imposed if the trust is funded with assets after the beneficiary reaches age 65. Finally, any funds that are left in the trust when the beneficiary passes, or if the trust is dissolved for another reason, any funds must go back to repay Medicaid for any money that Medicaid has spent ever during this person's lifetime on this person's care. So that if the person received benefits as an infant and did not receive them for a while as a child and needed them again as an adult, the Medicaid is going to look back to the date of birth and try to recoup funds going back that far. But the trust itself is not a bad deal. The funds can be used very broadly. They can be used for the beneficiary's education. It can be used to buy the beneficiary's basic needs, clothing, furniture. It can even be used to improve the beneficiary's quality of life. For example, it could buy an Xbox or help pay for a vacation. So this is really a good deal for the beneficiary. Now, a better deal for the beneficiary, if she can get it, is a third-party trust. This is money created or given to a trust from a third party. The money never passes through the beneficiary's hands. Because it's never the beneficiary's money, it is not countable for Medicaid purposes or for Social Security purposes. The money, again, can be used as broadly, if not broader, than a first-party trust. There is no age restriction as to the beneficiary's age. It can be created when the beneficiary is 3 or 93. It has no payback provision. So in many respects, this is a more advantageous trust than a D4A trust. And finally, there is the community pooled trust. A community pooled trust is a nonprofit organization that manages multiple special needs trusts. The funds are pooled together for purposes of investment, and then each trust is individually administered. In many respects, it's like a 401k account in its setup. Often these trusts can hold both D4A, the self-settled accounts, and they can hold third-party accounts. The common feature is that the beneficiary is disabled. They generally only hold cash, whereas the other types of trusts, the self-settled and third-party standalone trusts, can hold real estate, anything actually that the grantor would like it to hold. There is one additional feature to a community pooled trust in that the self-settled account can actually be created by the beneficiary herself. Again, the self-settled trust, the beneficiary cannot create. A self-settled trust account in a community pooled trust, a beneficiary can create. This is some glitch in the federal law that just has not yet been resolved. So now you know the basics of special needs trust planning for a special needs beneficiary. Hang around. We'll talk about the ABLE Act, where it fits into this grand scheme, and again, this twist, other types of statutory trusts that actually have great benefits for our special needs clients. Have a great week.